Hello, I'm Mark McAvoy, interview part 2 for the Princeton Review, beginning with SAT prep, sentence completion. This is fill in the blank, one or two words. So beginning now with the question 1. The blank of Maria Irene Fornes play mud, dash, a realistic room perched on a dirt pile, dash, challenges conventional interpretations of stage scenery. So here the blank will have 5 choices of words, A, B, C, D, or E. There's 2 methods that I know of to solve this question. The first is what I call the direct method. That is, you just look for the word that immediately jumps out to you and feels right, and then reading through that, if it still makes sense, then that's what you can put on for your answer sheet. And if you have more time, you can go back and review this. This will save you time on the SAT, given that it is timed. That it's sometimes good to just go with what feels good and to complete it faster. The second method is what I call the method of exhaustion, and that is going through all A, B, C, D, or E choices and crossing off each choice and choosing which are possible choices, narrowing it down step by step, and then ultimately deciding which one is the most likely choice. This is the more sure way to get the right answer, but this will take more time, and if you find yourself running out of time, then it's better, then that could be kind of bad, So I feel like a good balance of trying to use the direct method and the method of exhaustion is the best method for getting a good score on the SAT. So to solve this problem, the choices are A, appeal, or plot, mood, setting, rehearsal. Here I feel like we can use the direct method because they give us a big hint. With the dash in the sentence, a realistic room perched on a dirt pile, the dashes indicate emphasis, and so we can just read into what this is. What is this? This is setting, and so we can just go with choice D. Next question. Here you'll notice that this has 2 blanks. There is order to this, so the first word that appears and then the dots, the first word is what appears first in the sentence in order, and the second word is what appears later in the sentence. That's pretty clear, but just have to be sure to say that. So the sentence is, ironically, an affluent society that pushes much more food than it actually needs suffers because of that blank, since in conditions of affluence, diseases related to overeating and poor nutrition seems to blank. Here, I think for all of the sentences that have 2 words, we'll use method of exhaustion. So we'll begin with A, lavishness, or adapt. So reading through this, it actually suffers because of that lavishness. This could make sense, since in conditions of affluence, diseases related to overeating and poor nutrition seem to adapt. The adapt could make sense, so we'll leave this as a possibility. And so what I'll do is write a squiggly line under the choice A. Next is need suffers because of that overabundance. That works. Since in conditions of affluence, diseases related to overeating and poor nutrition seem to thrive, this works as well. So going to squiggly line that as well. The next need suffers because of that corpulence. Since in conditions of since in conditions of affluence, diseases related to overeating and poor nutrition seem to vex. We may not know what corpulence means, but we know that vex really will not work here. So we can just by that, we can cross C off the choice. Next, because of the blank effects of the hot springs, tourists suffering from various ailments flock to the village's thermal pools. Here, let's also use the direct method, but this way in a different sense. Reading the passage, what is the effects of the hot springs? It alleviates some kind of ailments. And what are the words that does this? Only therapeutic fits. Succulent doesn't fit. Redolent, cerebral, mandatory. The best word that describes alleviating some ailment is therapeutic, so we'll just circle E. Next, question 4. More valuable and comprehensive than any previously proposed theory of the phenomenon, Salazar's research has blank the basis for all subsequent blank in her field. This one I think is kind of tricky because the first choice, Salazar's research has undermined the basis for all subsequent advancements in her field. This could actually work, so we're going to put a squiggly under that. But we'll see later that why it's important to go through every possible choice to determine the best answer. The next B, prepared debacles. Debacles definitely does not fit into what the basis for all subsequent debacles in her field. Research does not really try to produce debacles, so we can just cross B off. The next, Salazar's research has provided the basis for all subsequent investigations in her field. This definitely makes sense. Research has dissolved the basis for all subsequent experiments in her field. This would mean that her research, similar to A, meant that her research led to undermining the future research of the field. This could happen, but it's a pretty dark thing to say, I think. But it's still a possibility. And E, Salazar's research has reinforced the basis for all subsequent misconceptions in her field, similar to A and D. And here I think there's two reasons that we'll choose C as the answer, because A, D, and E are all saying kind of similar things, and so C really stands out among the peers. Further, if you can think of what a SAT test writer is thinking, I like to think that they're going to be more positive in their thinking. So A, D, and E are kind of negative thinking. So let's go with the positive thinking choice, which is what is provided in choice C. How much time do I have? Choice 5, dangerously high winds. How much? Okay. Dangerously high winds. Blank attempts to begin the space shuttle mission on schedule, delaying the launch by nearly a week. Let's go through this using method of exhaustion. Dangerously high winds have thwarted attempts to begin space shuttle mission on schedule. This works. Oops. Next, dangerously high winds forfeited attempts to begin space shuttle mission on launch. This works as well, but if we continue reading the sentence, delaying the launch by nearly a week, forfeited would be a more permanent outcome than is indicated by just delaying by a week. It would be, say, like dangerous. The sentence would make sense if dangerously high winds push the space shuttle over, and delayed the and forfeited the attempts for space shuttle launch, but that's not what it says. So B is actually not going to be a great choice. Dangerously high when implemented attempts. No, that doesn't make sense. Discharged attempts, no, and redoubled, also no. So the only one that is left that makes any sense is thwarted, and that is what we are left with as the answer. Going to move on with, in essence of time, to the reading passages. I'm going to give the students 3 minutes to read the passage, but before that, we're going to skim through the answers, the questions of what's going to be asked in the passage. This is what I learned to be a good technique to have in mind what is going to be asked before reading the passage to maximize retention when reading it. To get the answer quicker later, that is. Because all we want is to get the right answer as fast as we can. So the questions are, in lines 2 through 8, the author of passage 1 mentions activities that suggest dolphins. So here we'll want to really pay attention to lines 2 through 8. Next question, author of passage 2 would most likely respond to the last sentence of passage 1 by. Here we'll want to determine what the author of passage 2's message is, and then after determining that, go back reading the last sentence of passage 1 and then answering the question. Next, the two passages differ in their views of dolphin intelligence, and that passage 1 states that dolphins, again here we'll want to look at the holistic message being portrayed by the two passages. Next, which generalization about dolphins is supported by both passages? Similar, we'll just have to look at the holistic message of each. So 3 minutes. Over. Okay. Going through the questions. 9, having already said it, I'll just assume that the students can read it. Going through this, the activities that in passage 1, the activities that a dolphin does are they don't really say anything. We'll do exhaustion, I guess. They don't say anything about sensitive to the environment or thrive in captivity, or they imply some things about intelligence, but they don't say any. They don't explicitly say that dolphins have a unique type of intelligence. They do say that they're intelligent, but they don't, which could be implied, but it's not explicitly stated. So we'll want to give a squiggly line under C. D, an uncommonly playful animal. They kind of imply this, but also it's not the main message of the passage. So kind of squiggly line, and then E is have skills usually associated with humans. This is definitely what the passage 1 is implying. Actually, the entire passage is what gives reasons, well-documented research by scientists. Everything about the passage is giving support for choice E, that dolphins have skills usually associated with humans, and so all of this wants us to conclude to choose E over the other possible contenders. Next, author of passage 2 would most likely respond to the last sentence of passage 1 by suggesting that intelligence in animals is virtually impossible to measure. They gives some research that it's hard to measure dolphins' intelligence or any animal's intelligence, but it doesn't. So we can put a squiggly under A just for that reason. But the question is also asking not just what author of passage 2 is asking, but also how it responds to the last sentence of passage 1, which says, this behavior demonstrates that dolphins are aware of their own individuality, indicating a level of intelligence that may be very near our own. And this doesn't really address that, but we're going to consider it anyway. Next, observing that intelligence does not mean the same thing for every species. This definitely addresses this. Is the message being given by 2, and it well addresses the last sentence of passage 1. So we will keep that. Actually, let's write 2 squigglies for that because it did 2 things that we want, indicating that it's going to be a better choice than A. Next, questioning the objectivity of the studies already conducted. They kind of address this, but it doesn't again address the last sentence of question 1. So kind of considered, but not really. D, noting that dolphin activities do not require a high level of intelligence. They actually, again, same reasoning as A and C. It doesn't address the last sentence of passage 1. And E, arguing that little is actually known about dolphin social behavior. Again, same reasoning. It falls under the message being said by passage 2, but not addressing the question at hand, which is that the behavior demonstrates that dolphins are aware of their own individuality, indicating a level of intelligence that may be very near our own. So since it doesn't address that, we kind of consider, but not really. And so the best choice is B. And with that done, thank you.